There ain't one of them that's light, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, Joe and I have taken a vote, and we've decided we don't like moving these ceiling joists around. But if you're a carpenter, you have to move the wood, wet or dry. And we've got to carry these ceiling joists into position. Our building's about 33 feet wide, so we have 18-foot joists coming from the back side and a 16-footer from the front. And here, over the kitchen, just requires one length, since the adjoining living room has a high ceiling. Here on the top, we're starting to nail the joists in place. The first one goes down flat for drywall backing. We side each board for the crown, put the crown up, and hold the joist 1.5 inches from the edge, since there'll be a block between the rafters, and toenail them to lay out. Here I'm marking and cutting pressure blocks, which help support ceiling joists where they butt up against the beams. Joe is taking these blocks to the middle of our building. Here's how they work. A ceiling joist nails in, then a pressure block with 3 16-penny nails. You could use joist hangers here. There's a lot more about that in the book. Then another joist is toe-nailed into the beam, tied up against the block with 16s. The pressure blocks help support the joists and space them 16 inches on center.
Okay, that's it.
Now whenever there's an interior wall parallel to the way the joists are running, I nail a joist flat on top of the wall, leaving 1 inch hangover on each side for drywall backing. Still in the middle of the building, Joe is toe-nailing ceiling joists on layout with 16-penny nails. Then he returns, toe-nailing the other joist to the wall, and ties the two joists together at the lap with 2 16-penny nails. That's the code. Here's another way to run on backing for drywall. This is a 2x6 wall. We nail on a pair of 2x4s, letting them hang over on each side. It's often necessary to interrupt a run of ceiling joist in order to box out a hole for an attic access or for a stairwell. In this case, we have an attic access hole up through a closet. We ran headers across 2 interior walls for support. Now, if your hole was larger, you'd want to double the headers and the side joists. And speaking of larger holes, this is a big one. It's over the kitchen, and we're framing a spatial light well for a large lighting fixture that will be above the countertop below. I'm nailing together beams made out of pairs of 2x6s, which fit into these joist hangers. These hang off double-up ceiling joists that Joe has already positioned.
Yeah.
Then we fill in each side of the hole with short joists. At the far left, I'm nailing against pressure blocks which are nailed to a 4x12 beam. To the far right, the end of Joe's short joists right on top of the wall plate. We finish up by nailing 2x4 backing on top of the light well. Now, Joe and I have a lot of experience walking up here, but for safety's sake, we like to use a catwalk. This is 1x6, leftover bracing stock. Once it's positioned mid-span on the joist, we run a layout on it to keep our joist straight. Then we nail it off with 8-penny nails. Now, everywhere a joist crosses an interior wall, we toe-nail on each side. This really strengthens the entire structure. Besides that, it's the code. We're down here on the garage floor, cutting 2x8 rafter ties. I mark one end with a rafter pattern. More on this later. Extend the line, then clip it so it won't stick up above the 2x6 rafters. Now it's just a matter of setting them up on the plates. Most codes require tie on 4-foot centers. You want to be careful up here. You're working on a 2x4 wall. Pay attention to what you're doing. This garage doesn't have any ceiling joists, so the purpose of these rafter ties is to tie the exterior walls together. I'm glad they don't sell this lumber by the pound, Joe. Goes like yay. Now, letting the building itself be our guide, I mark and cut the rafter tie to length and clip it just like the other end. And drive a 16-penny toenail, one on each side. And by the way, just like all joists, we were careful to put the crown up on these bores. This piece of 2x8 on the end here allows us to nail on a 2x4 strong back across our rafter ties. The strong back maintains spacing and ties everything together.